Hi guys, so welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at the lazy beds that we installed last year and how we prepare them for the second year of growing and what our lazy beds are looking like right now at the start of April. Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Barry. So if you've been following our videos, you'll know that when we came to this garden around 2 years ago, it was all just lawn. We decided to put in as many beds as we could using the lazy bed method. I'll put a link in the video description below if you want to see how we established the lazy beds. And now this video is just going to be about what lazy beds looks like in the second year and what we've done to manage them over the winter especially. So these beds here were created using the lazy bed method. We grew potatoes in them. The reason we grew potatoes in these beds as well is that when you plant potatoes into the soil, it will help loosen up the soil. The tubers break up the soil, and the process of digging back out the potatoes at the end of the season also helps to break up the soil, so you're not doing work multiple times. If you can see here now in the second row, we have this one covered in plastic, but we had the whole lot of these beds here covered in plastic. My goal is to use the no-dig approach for gardening here. But compost was just a little bit of an issue for us. We didn't have a large amount of compost, so we made do with what we had. We planted our potatoes in. We mulched around the potatoes then with straw, and we dug them out, and then over the winter we covered pretty much our entire garden with silage tarp. This one here, that stayed in place for about 5 months over the winter. So this has multiple uses, tarping your bed. With heavy rain that we get here in Ireland, it stops. The silage tarp will stop the rain eroding the soil, compacting the soil, leaching out vital nutrients out of the soil. Another added benefit is this time of the year when you remove the tarp, because it's a black plastic, it heats the soil up that little bit more as well. So when you remove the silage tarp, the beds are pretty warmed up. We had a mild enough winter this year, so that wasn't a major issue, but it did help. So all this soil here as well is heavy clay. So when we remove this tarp now today, we'll have to dig through and level the bed. This is one we did during the week. I have this bed here now, 40 foot, prepared, ready for carrots, which we're going to plant in some autumn king carrots into this bed. And they're going to be all our storage carrots for most of next year. Same with this one here on the left. So when we removed the tarp, we done the exact same thing. The only difference is we've mulched this bed with well-rotted manure. Then we planted in our onions, and the mulch serves two purposes. It feeds the onions and it protects the top of the soil from drying out, helping retain water and feed the soil in the process. Because we're putting carrots in the one on the right, we'll probably put a very light mulch of compost, but nothing else, as we won't be, carrots don't need to be fed that strongly. The first one we removed, so this one here, this had been only covered for maybe a month and a half, 2 months after we removed the potatoes. And this is garlic that we planted back in October, and it's doing absolutely fantastic now at the moment. We mulched this with compost. We planted our garlic bulbs in, and then we came back last week and we mulched it again with freshly cut grass, which is a great source of nitrogen which breaks down and feeds the garlic. So what we have here now behind us is another section of lazy beds. These are 4 20-foot beds. These are primarily used to grow brassicas. So the difference between these beds here and the ones behind us that potatoes grew in, the ones where the potatoes grew, the sods got broken up by the process of planting the potatoes, the tubers swelling to break up the soil, and us digging it in. The difference here is when the brassicas grew, we cut the stalks at the soil level and took out the brassicas. Over the winter, we completely mulched this entire area with compost, using the no-dig method again to just top up the beds, top dress them with compost, and then we cover the whole area with the silage tarp. And as you see, we took off the tarp today and there's not a single weed growing in any of this area. Another massive advantage of using a silage tarp and having it weighed down, that is one challenge. You have to have the silage tarps weighed down if you're in an open area, or the wind will take it away. So one massive advantage as well of using the silage tarp is that it makes a great habitat for slugs. So it's very easy to remove the slugs when you remove the silage tarp. A lot of them will be stuck underneath the tarp or in any damp spots around the edges of the tarp. So it's easy then for you to remove or cull the slugs. What we do is we just cull the numbers of the slugs by trying to reduce them as much as we can. And every slug that we take out of the garden is one less problem for us in the future. So what we're actually going to do in these beds here now as well, as they're not really as broke up as the other ones, they'll be absolutely fine for planting shallow rooting crops and all that, but I wouldn't fancy planting something like carrots into these beds because there's still a massive root mass in the soil from where the lazy beds were. Two of these beds I'm probably going to plant potatoes in, and then I'll probably plant some shallow rooting veg in the other ones. I'll come back as well with my broad fork, and I'm going to broad fork two of these beds that aren't going to have potatoes in. So guys, if you're thinking of starting a garden or have a patch of ground on your land and you want to grow some potatoes especially in it, but you don't want to dig, you don't have the resources for creating a no-dig system, then consider using the lazy beds. You put a bed down like this, 40 foot by 3 foot, in about an hour and a half. You could get your potatoes in and then earth them up with straw. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're getting value as well from it and you'd like to see more videos like this, I try to make videos every week. Please hit the subscribe button if you could and like our video. Or if you have any thoughts as well on this, I'm doing something right or I'm doing something wrong, I'd love to hear some feedback about it as well. Thanks for watching guys. Have a great day. See ya.